Hi guys, sorry only one video this weekend. This is actually my second attempt to this video. The first one was 15 minutes long and it's way longer than it should be. You guys are gonna fall asleep. I do have videos from this last week that I'm still editing, as well as the week prior. Sorry, it's one of those things where you know, the editing gets to me and then I just need a break. The reason I'm posting this video is because I had two tech support case studies, if you want to call them that, where they both had the same problem, different year vehicles, different generation vehicles, same problem with the crankshaft sprocket coming loose. Both vehicles were a no start, no run, both had fuel, both had spark, but no start. Excuse me, having my cereal, oh my green cereal bowl. Oh, this video is already getting too long again. Sorry, you guys are going to fall asleep. So anyways, during my regular process of interrogating the people in question that need help, I always ask for pictures, and so they send me pictures of what I ask them to take pictures of, and that helps me determine what is going on. And in both cases, as soon as I saw that the TDC marks when lined up at the transmission did not match with the crankshaft sprocket orientation, I knew right away that the crankshaft sprocket was bad. And so here is just going to be a quick slideshow. I'll make myself disappear in a second, so you'll be seeing pictures behind me, and I'll quickly go through them. Hopefully it won't be 15 minutes again like my last try here, because I still need to edit this so that you guys can view. So anyways, I'm going to stop videotaping myself, and we're just going to focus on the pictures behind me, and I'll quickly go through what you should pay attention to if and when you do a timing belt on a 2-liter, the Mark III or the Mark IV. Just keep an eye out for these things. So here's the Mark III 2-liter ABA. It's got the extra gear here for the distributor. When everything is lined up correctly, there'll be a little dimple right here that lines up with the corner, and the front pulley bolt holes, this is the crankshaft sprocket or crankshaft gear, excuse me. The pulley bolt holes should be at 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and the little dimple on the 7, 8 o'clock position. The next image, let me just fast forward. So this is a known good crankshaft sprocket / gear. You can see the keyway, nice square edges. You can see this one is worn out. So again, I'm going to go through them quickly so that you guys don't have to suffer through a long video. The fellow in Sweden that I helped out with, he was ready to trash the vehicle, take it to the salvage yard, because he said it was going to be too expensive. So I told him to check the sprocket. Sure enough, sprocket was bad. This is the first time I've ever seen one where it actually separates right here. There'll be another picture where we can actually see the piece come off. Long story short, I bought and mailed a crankshaft gear and bolt to him. A week later, he received the parts, installed it, engine is running perfectly. So he's lucky. If and when the crankshaft moves too much because of the gear slipping, you can actually bend valves. The 2-liter ABA and the 2-liter AEG or what have you, AVH on the Mark IVs, they are all interference fit engines. So when things move too much, damage can occur. This is the Mark IV, the other fellow that I'm helping out. You can see all the rust here, which is a telltale sign that the crankshaft gear is moving. There'll be a better picture later. You can see the shininess of the crankshaft here and a bit of rusty area here. The shininess is from that crankshaft sprocket moving, wiggling left and right, and here you can see the corner that's worn. He has not gotten back to me yet about how it's running. He did get a new crankshaft gear and a bolt, and he said he was going to put some JB Weld metal epoxy. This is his crankshaft gear. You can see the shininess here because of the movement. The keyway is completely gone. This was the initial picture that he took. You can see the amount of rust, so definitely something to look out for. This is the image that he sent me of the TDC mark not being in the correct position, so I told him to rotate the engine in a counterclockwise direction. We're looking at the transmission here, so from the transmission side of things it's going to rotate clockwise, but when looking at it from the front, from the crankshaft side, you're going to be going counterclockwise. So basically what he did was this is the Mark IV, he lined up the camshaft to TDC, and then he basically saw this at the transmission, and that tells me that something's not aligned. Then he showed me the crankshaft gear beforehand, before taking everything off, and you can see the misalignment here. It needs to be turned counterclockwise, as I just said a few seconds ago. Here it is lined up with the 0 mark just underneath the transmission flange here, or the edge. Oops, I think I just started. That would be the next picture. Sorry, I'm going too fast. I apologize. This is the crankshaft pulley at the front. You can see that the mark is not in the right position at TDC. That should be up here. This mark is a little bit difficult to see from this angle, but trust me, that's where it is. Here, this is the good picture of, or a good indication before you even take anything off, that something is wrong. You can see all this rusty color here. That's because the bolt is loose. You have movement happening, and that movement causes rust, because the metal shavings basically come loose and rust, oxidize. This is when he moved the crankshaft to TDC. By moving the crankshaft counterclockwise to TDC, the camshaft moved counterclockwise, and you can see how far off timing is for the camshaft now. This is the Mark III. Same thing in his. He's got the crankshaft aligned to TDC, but you can see the pulley bolt holes do not line up, and that's the picture that told me that he has a problem with the crankshaft gear, the crankshaft sprocket. That's his alignment mark. You can see it's a similar window like on the Mark IV, but his Mark III has the distributor on the left here. So when you see the timing mark at the transmission lined up, your distributor should be lined up, and as well as the first image that I showed you with the intermediate shaft, that little dimple. We'll circle around to the end of the slideshow in a minute. That's his gear. Like I said, this whole thing came loose. There it is on the ground here, or next to it. Yeah, this is definitely, actually I think the inner half here has even moved. This should actually be up here. I'm gonna have to ask him if he can separate that gear at all. But anyways, his vehicle is running already, and we're back to the beginning. So again, don't want to make this thing too long. It probably is already. I just thought you guys might find this interesting, and for those of you who have the 2-liter ABA Mark III engines, or the AEG, AVH, BEV, all the different versions of 2-liter engines that the Mark IV have, whenever you do a timing belt, it is a good idea to replace the crankshaft bolt at minimum. Remove the crankshaft bolt only when the timing belt is still attached. That way, if something moves, the camshaft will rotate at the same time, and you will not have any type of valve damage occur. Once the bolt is off or loose, you can then remove everything, remove the gear, the sprocket. If the sprocket looks good, it can be reused. Over time, these teeth do wear as well. But it takes quite a few 100,000 kilometers, miles before that happens. But once this gear is off, definitely replace the seal. It's a good idea to replace the seal even when it's not leaking. It may or may not last the second new timing belt, but you know, why take the chance? That way you don't have to replace it or go back in there prior to the timing belt service interval. Anyways, questions and comments, feel free to leave them below. As always, I reply to all questions if you have any. Hopefully this will save somebody an engine in the future, as it did in both these cases. Well, at least one of them for sure. The guy in Sweden, like I said, he's happy. His engine is running. The other guy, it was just this week still that he's working on it, so he's going to get back to me. Anyways, that's it. Thanks again. Bye-bye.